to the city.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, well, we're a little special dressed tonight because we need a picture for the website. So we'll get a still out of this. But tonight, for our chat, we're going to talk about silly things that kids do. We did get to see our new great-grandson, Howard. The kids brought him by. We got to hold him. He slept the whole time. They said he's a really good baby. So that's going to be a good one for him.
Well, last night they said he was crying all the time. They couldn't figure out what it was.
Oh, yeah. He hadn't had a bowel movement for most of the day. He'd had one that morning, but anyway, for some reason, but they gave him something to help get it going. He's fine now.
8 pounds, was it 8 pounds, 6 ounces?
Something like that.
8 pounds, 6 ounces, 22 inches long.
Big baby, not a wrinkle in sight.
Nope.
He's chubby, cute. Oh, he's cute. And I guess, well, my husband was big, so were his brothers. And
my 2 older brothers and myself, we weighed 9 pounds, some ounces. My little brother, he's the skinniest of all of us. He weighed 11 pounds, 4 ounces when he was born.
And on her husband's to-be side, they were big babies too. He didn't specify, but they were big babies too. So, grandchildren. We'll start with our own. Our great-grandchildren really haven't done a lot around us that we could call funny yet.
No, not yet.
Haven't had enough of these really big deals. But anyway, two of them, a brother and sister, Wade and Cheyenne. They were staying at our house for a little bit. We were watching them. And I had this umbrella. It was one of those that you stretch out. You know, it closes way down and then you stretch it out and it's extendable. Anyway, I don't think it was even raining, but they decided that they were going to go out with that umbrella. And the two of them were walking up and down the sidewalk with both of them one hand on that umbrella. It was over both their heads. Cute as could be. I have a snapshot. I wish I'd have had a video camera back then. Jay, he was about 4 when Crystal married my son, because they both had children from before, and now they've got yours, mine, and ours. And he would not take his afternoon nap when they would come up, and he didn't want to take his afternoon nap. So I'd say, okay, let's go to Grandma's bed. He would go crawl up in Grandma's bed and cover up, and I would just lay on top and say, okay, let's make up a story. And I think the one that he liked most was fish eye soup. Fish eye soup. Yeah. And it wasn't about the soup itself. It was about how we caught the fish. Oh. He ended up with a lot of fish eyes. Yeah. A bigger fish would eat the first fish, then a bigger fish would eat that fish, then a bigger fish would eat that fish. It was to make his daddy better, because his daddy was sick. It was so cute. Finally, the biggest fish started pulling him around the lake, and his dad had to rescue him. But it's just a cute story, and he loved it. And he he wanted it to be about fishing, and anyways, it was just really fun. But that's what usually would get him to take his nap, was a story that we would make up, or I'd just make up and tell him. And he'd get to sleep. Anyway, he was a little pistol. And that's a slang term we use here as just meaning he was kind of full of himself. Had a lot of fun. And then Delson, when he was, when Delson was just real small, I babysat. And our oldest granddaughter, Tiffany, wasn't far behind him. So for a while I was watching both of them until my doctor said, no, you can't do that. Which made me mad, and I cried. But I would take him out, and there was this tree just outside. Of course, we had a sandbox and swing set and stuff. And anyway, but when he was just really little, he was just beginning to, you know, babies will touch things and they want to taste things. But I let him feel tree bark, and I let him feel it and see what it was like. I didn't let him put it in his mouth. Russell brought that down.
He cleaned houses for some people that he worked with. And this lady wanted to get it out of her yard. She just gave it to him, so he thought, well, I'll just go down and borrow my brother's my pickup, and he went up and got it. And I asked him if he wanted some help loading it up. He said, no, I got it. So he brought it down, and we put it together, and it lasted quite a while. It was made out of treated lumber. I ended up making out of the lumber because when we traded houses with our daughter, AJ, son-in-law, he said he didn't really want it in the yard anymore because the kids didn't play on it. It was starting to get, some parts of it was kind of rotted out. So I went over and I tore it apart, and I used some of the lumber to build a couple of benches that I have down in the basement.
They had like 2 swings and one of those glider things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
then it had a slide on it at one time.
Yeah, it had a slide, and
then it had like monkey bars in between.
Yeah. And they'd like to crawl. It was just more or less like a ladder, and they could go across it this way, or they could, and some like to crawl across the top.
Yeah.
Which one or two of them anyway got up there, got halfway across, and got scared. So they needed a little help getting down. But it was a little hard for them. They don't remember this because they don't remember much about before I was on oxygen and stuff. But they used to just love to have Grandma go out and swing them on that swing. And I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was just hilarious. I mean, Grandma could still push a swing. Well, after I was on the oxygen, I had to, have tubing. I had a portable, and I took it along, but it only had just so much. And I said, guys, I can only do just so much. I can't swing you big, just nice little swinging. And so they didn't quite understand it, but after a while, they learned how to pump their legs and swing themselves. But yeah, they would climb up that little ladder, and then they'd get on those top rails, and that worried AJ after they bought the house. Yeah. He was always thinking they were going to break it and fall or something. And he built a sand pile. It was broken down too it got broken down because they got too old for it. But yeah, those kids loved that. My grandson, Brandon, oh wow, he would just sit in that thing for hours. Brandon, he would sit there in that sandbox, and he would just build and build. And his mom, Nina, our daughter, she would go out there with him, and they would just have a ball. And there were some molds that, you get these plastic molds that they could make stuff. But there was an old toy I had picked up somewhere, and it was kind of like had a scoop thing on it or something. He loved that thing. But it got to a point where it really just didn't work. Anyway, there's just so many things with grandkids. You start talking, you think you don't have a whole lot, then you start talking. We've got a bunch of them down in Kansas. Sandra, well, Tommy Joe, my son and his wife, they're the yours, mine, and our family, and their first child together, they named Tommy Joe. And so we call him TJ, poor kid. He's in school way up there, and he plays football. And Sandra, she seemed like such a little mom to me when she was always taking care of her little brothers and her little sisters. She didn't. TJ was the only brother, and he was older, but she was always taking care of the younger ones. And she went out for, in the younger grades, they didn't have girls football. They just had the boy or the one football. So she got to go out play football with them. She was right in there with them.
Antiques.
Auctions, yeah, getting antiques and stuff.
Son-in-law's got one heck of a collection of wood planes.
Yeah.
All kinds of them. Man,
And he brought Joe one, didn't he?
I've got several of them, yeah.
And my daughter,
She collects
Angela,
dolls.
she collects dolls. I said, I hope you've got those things insured. Deanna, when she was a baby, she would take one look at me and scream. She just wanted nothing to do with me. She could sit on her mom's lap next to me, but if I tried to take her, have her let me hold her, she'd just scream. She was scared to death. Now, she's kind of lost some of that, but she's my shadow. She always wants grandma now. And then there's little Helen. She's just always busy doing this or that. We don't really know what she's doing most of the time. But, I mean, she has fun, don't get me wrong. And she's not a bad kid. She's just one of those middle kids, and she's such a, I don't know if she's really that strong-willed or just kind of, the middle kids become self-sufficient. That's just, I was a middle kid. You become self-sufficient. And then there's the two younger ones. There's Andy and Ashlyn. Cute, but growing up, they get out of that baby stage too darn fast. That's the grandchildren. Felicia, she is a homebody.
Yeah.
She likes to be close to home. She doesn't like, they would come over here for a big family get together. They'd be here a couple hours. Mom, can I go home now? She just likes her house. She likes to be comfortable in her house. And she's out of high school now, and she's found a job. It's close to home. It's a hardware store here in town, or just outside of town. And when her big brother, Delson, when he was like 6 when she was born. And when she got to walking, she wanted to be able to do everything Delson did. She was on Big Brother's tail, wanting to do everything he did, and
She's a tomboy.
yeah, but it wasn't just that. I mean, she wanted his attention. It's little brothers and sisters do that. I know mine did. They just want to be on your tail. They don't understand why. When you go to town, they can't go with you, even if they're 5 years younger. But she would just follow him around. And she is kind of a tomboy. She said she would like to do horticulture. Right now, though, she's happy where she is.
No.
It's not short at all. I'm gonna have to edit. So we love you so much. And listen, guys, I am so thrilled when you say that you're learning to paint. For me, if it turns out good and you love it, that's great. I think it's wonderful. I did not start it to be teaching anybody because I haven't had any training. I just keep trying, and somehow I keep doing a little better. But I just feel gratified that you watch what I do, And then you start doing that, and you're gonna gain your own styles and your own. I don't know if I've really found a particular style yet, but yeah, you will.
There's some things she can't do because of
Copyright.
copyrights.
Well, good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves. And there's your smile and wave. You go share it. People really do get it.
Thanks for your support.
Yes, very much so. And so we'll see you again tomorrow. Take care. Good night.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals